At night, when the world grows quiet and the body begins to surrender to rest, there exists a simple fruit that carries within it a secret older than medicine itself: the lemon, a fruit that the ancients once regarded not as food, but as light made tangible, sunlight captured in flesh, waiting to be released when the veil of darkness descends. There is something almost sacred about what happens when this small yellow fruit meets the silence of night. Something that modern science touches only at the edges, while ancient wisdom once understood it as an act of alchemy, the merging of heaven and earth inside the human body. You may think of lemon as something ordinary, yet those who lived long before us whispered of it as a divine purifier, a key that unlocked the invisible gates of renewal within the body. They believed that when consumed at night, when the world slows and the energies of the earth retreat into stillness, the lemon's essence did more than cleanse. It awakened, it healed, it restored the dialogue between soul and flesh. Imagine an ancient healer, somewhere in Egypt or along the shores of the Aegean Sea, cutting a lemon by candlelight. The scent fills the air, sharp, alive, electric. He mixes it with water drawn from a clay jar, whispers a prayer of gratitude, and drinks slowly as if drinking from the heart of light itself. They understood something we have forgotten, that the body heals not only through chemicals, but through vibration, through intention, through communion with what is alive. To them, lemon was not citrus, it was condensed sunlight. It carried the frequency of clarity, of purification, of rebirth. They called it the fruit of cleansing, and believed that those who drank its essence at night could cleanse their blood, their thoughts, their dreams. Tonight, as the lights fade and silence begins to hum, imagine holding a glass of water and half a lemon. Feel the texture of its skin, porous, breathing, alive. It is the closest thing to the energy of the sun you can hold in your hand. When you cut it open, its scent doesn't simply fill the air, it fills your spirit. The ancients said that every scent carried a code, a memory that awakened something dormant in the soul. The fragrance of lemon was the call of the soul to return to purity, to simplicity, to balance. There was a time when healers believed that disease was not a punishment, but a dissonance, a loss of harmony between the energies of the body and the music of the universe. The lemon, in its sacred geometry, restored that music. They used it in rituals of purification before meditation, before prayer, before rest. And at night, when the moon reflected the sun's lost fire, they said the lemon's energy became even more potent, for the body, in its rest, becomes open, receptive, like fertile soil waiting for the dew. Science in its way has confirmed fragments of this truth. Lemon does cleanse, it does alkalize, it does repair. It stimulates the liver, awakens the metabolism, and renews the blood. But what science cannot measure is how this act, this ritual of drinking lemon water before sleep, can align not only your organs, but your very being. For healing, true healing, is not mechanical, it is relational. It begins the moment you decide to return to harmony with nature. When you choose to trust what was placed upon the earth not for profit, but for remembrance, there is a reason the lemon glows even in darkness, a reason its taste shocks the tongue, forcing awareness. It is nature's alarm clock for the soul. It demands presence. You cannot drink lemon water absent-mindedly. Your body reacts instantly. Your senses awaken. Your tongue tingles. Your eyes close. Your mind focuses. In that single sip, something ancient stirs. The cells begin to communicate differently. The organs seem to remember something older than language, the code of cleansing. The same code written in the stars, mirrored in every wave that washes the shore clean. The night has always been a time of secrets, a time when the body slows and the unseen begins to whisper. The ancients saw it as the hour when the divine could touch the human without resistance. When one drop of lemon in water met that stillness, it was not just chemistry, it was prayer, it was offering. The sourness symbolized the bitterness we carry, regrets, toxins, fears, and when it entered the body, it transmuted them. It was a ritual of release. In their temples, healers would instruct their disciples to sit in silence, facing east, holding a cup of lemon water beneath the light of a single flame. They would say, Drink the sun to cleanse the shadows. And so they did. Even now, though we no longer light candles before sleep or chant prayers before drinking, something in us remembers. That quiet pull toward ritual, that need to restore balance. You may call it intuition, but perhaps it is memory. A deep cellular memory that knows lemon is not coincidence. It is connection. When the juice mixes with water, the pH shifts, and within minutes, the body's internal terrain transforms from acidic chaos to a calm alkaline state. To the ancients, this was not merely biological, it was symbolic. It meant peace had returned. The internal waters, the same waters that mirror the oceans, had calmed. At night, the liver, the great purifier, begins its sacred work. The lemon, with its gentle acidity and vibrant charge, amplifies that process. It tells the liver, you are not alone. It gives it the signal to release what no longer serves. In that silent communion, toxins become lessons, heaviness becomes clarity. That is why so many wake lighter after this ritual, not because of chemistry alone, but because the soul has unburdened itself. But there is more, something subtler. Lemon carries within it a vibrational symmetry that aligns with what ancient mystics called the golden frequency, the vibration of renewal. It is the same ratio found in sacred geometry, in the spiral of galaxies, in the unfolding of a fern, in the heartbeat of the earth. When this vibration enters the body, especially when the body is still, it restores coherence to the biofield. Energy begins to flow again where stagnation once ruled. This is not fantasy. It is the forgotten science of resonance. Every living thing emits frequency. Every frequency can heal or harm. The lemon's frequency, measured in its light spectrum, resonates with the vibration of the heart. That is why, even beyond digestion, people report feeling emotionally lighter after this nightly ritual. The lemon doesn't only cleanse blood, it cleanses emotion. It clears grief stored in the body's waters, memories trapped in the cells. The ancients believed that the heart stored not only love but sorrow, and that certain fruits could draw the heaviness away. Lemon was chief among them, and so, each night, as countless bodies lie restless from the burdens of the day, this simple act, squeezing a lemon into warm water and drinking it slowly, becomes a form of prayer. The bitterness that once symbolized suffering now becomes healing. The sour taste is the purification of pain. Each swallow is a whisper to the divine. I am ready to let go. The water carries it through, the lemon transforms it, and sleep completes the alchemy. There are legends that say monks in Tibet would perform this ritual for 40 nights before a great fast or meditation retreat. They called it drinking the sun before the moon takes it. Their records describe visions, clarity, and profound physical rejuvenation. Some said their eyes grew brighter, their skin glowed, and their dreams became lucid and filled with symbols. They claimed the lemon opened a channel between body and soul, allowing wisdom to flow freely again. And when dawn came, they would say the same phrase. The light entered me and I became light. What if the same is possible for you? What if healing is not as complicated as we've been told, not hidden behind expensive treatments or unreachable formulas, but in the humble fruit that grows on trees, nourished by sun and rain? What if the answer has always been this simple? To align with nature, not against it. When you drink that glass at night, you are not just hydrating your body. You are communicating with it. You are saying, I remember you, I am listening. That act, that awareness, is where healing begins. It is not in the lemon alone, but in the consciousness with which you take it. The ancients taught that when a person drank with intention, their body became a temple, and the drink became a sacrament. The lemon, water, and mind formed a trinity of transformation. Tonight, as you lift the glass, imagine you are drinking the same essence that once sustained prophets, monks, healers. Imagine every drop carrying within it light, not metaphorical light, but the same photons that once touched the surface of the sun. You may feel a tingling, a warmth spreading through your chest, a strange calm in your heart. That is not imagination. That is the body remembering harmony. And as you lay down to sleep, something extraordinary begins, a process no doctor can replicate, no laboratory can bottle, the merging of spirit and chemistry, the renewal of every cell by a force that has no name but presence. The power of lemon at night. In the morning you awaken differently. Your breath feels cleaner, your mind clearer, the world appears sharper, quieter. You have not only cleansed your body, yet you have reset your frequency. And though you may not yet realize it, the ritual has begun to rewrite something deep within you. A memory, a truth. That the simplest acts, done with awareness and faith, can awaken the divine physician that sleeps inside every human being. And so the question remains, echoing softly through the chambers of your being. What if this is not just about lemon? What if, beneath the taste and chemistry, there lies an invitation to remember that the universe placed everything you need to heal within reach of your hand, hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to notice the sacred in the ordinary. The lemon is not the healer. It is the messenger, the reminder, the mirror. It shows you what happens when you choose purity over noise, intention over habit, reverence over routine. The true medicine is the state of presence it awakens in you. When you drink it tonight, you are joining a lineage that stretches back thousands of years, to the first humans who looked at this golden fruit and sensed that it was more than food. They saw the sun's memory, the spark of divine fire trapped in flesh. And when they drank it under the stars, they knew what we are only beginning to rediscover, that the body and the cosmos are not separate, and that true healing begins not when you fight disease, but when you remember the light. The night deepens, the stars hum softly, the lemon waits, the water glows faintly in the glass. And in the silence between your heartbeat and the earth's rhythm, something whispers almost inaudibly, you are ready to remember. There is a moment when the body sleeps and the soul drifts towards silence, that the universe performs its quiet repairs. Cells regenerate, organs cleanse, thoughts dissolve into the dark ocean of unconsciousness. And in this sacred stillness, the lemon, humble, radiant, overlooked, becomes a vessel for light's return. What happens when you invite it into your body at night is not a coincidence. It is a reenactment of an ancient law, one that bridges biology and divinity, the law of purification through light. Ancient physicians in Alexandria once wrote that the body was not made of flesh alone, but of fire trapped within form. They believed that each food, each herb, carried a signature of the celestial body that governed its essence. Lemon belonged to the sun. It was, in their words, the liquid fire of the solar soul. When the sun descended below the horizon, they said its subtler rays hid within certain plants and fruits waiting to be released. The lemon was their key. They used it to rekindle light within the human temple long after dusk. They taught that when taken at night, it did not energize the body as caffeine does, but illuminated it from within. The difference was subtle, spiritual. Where light had dimmed, through fatigue, worry, age, the lemon restored clarity. The mystery of lemon at night is that it works in silence. Its acids, its oils, its frequencies all conspire with the body's circadian rhythm, harmonizing with processes that no machine can measure. Science speaks of detoxification, of pH balance, of antioxidants scavenging free radicals. But the sages spoke of something deeper, alignment. They said the lemon called forth the golden current that ran through the human energy field, the same current that moves through rivers, through sunlight, through the sap of trees. When this current flowed unhindered, disease could not take root. Modern observers, blind to the invisible, would dismiss this as metaphor. Yet even they cannot deny what the instruments reveal, that lemon alters the charge of the body's fluids, that it restores electrical potential to cells, that it supports the very mitochondria, those ancient sparks of energy inherited from our cosmic ancestors. Mitochondria respond to light frequencies, to photons absorbed through the skin and eyes. But what happens when light is consumed through taste? When the memory of sunlight enters the body through a drop of juice? The ancients would answer, the same miracle. The light becomes blood. The blood becomes harmony. The harmony becomes health. In the Kabbalistic texts, it is written that every element of creation contains a divine spark waiting to be released. This act of release is called tikkun, restoration. The lemon, they believed, was an instrument of tikkun for the body. When its essence mingled with water and intention, the human being participated in the restoration of balance between heaven and earth. The sour taste, sharp, awakening, was not to punish, but to awaken awareness of what must be purified. The bitterness that wrinkles the mouth mirrors the bitterness that life sometimes plants in the heart. But through this ritual, bitterness becomes sweetness, darkness becomes clarity. If you look closer, you will see that the lemon's form itself holds sacred geometry. The five-pointed star within, the spiral of its fibers, the symmetry of its segments. It mirrors the microcosm of creation. Ancient healers believed that cutting it open was an act of unveiling the hidden order of life. When its juice met water, they said, it mimicked the marriage of opposites, fire and water, acid and calm, male and female, sun and moon. This union, when entered consciously, awakened the body's forgotten intelligence. For centuries in temples along the Mediterranean, healers practiced what they called the night of the sun. They would gather at dusk, cleanse their hands in salted water, and prepare a basin of fresh lemons. One by one, they would slice them open and squeeze them into jars of clear water. Then they would chant, not words but tones, vibrations that matched the frequency of the heart. They would drink slowly, eyes closed, and visualize golden light descending into every organ. The ritual was less about the fruit than about remembrance. They believed each human carried the memory of light, and that illness was merely the forgetting of that memory. Modern researchers, though they speak another language, echo fragments of this truth. They observe that lemon oil increases alpha brain waves associated with calm awareness. They note that scent alone alters the limbic system, the seat of emotion. They record that citric acid enhances the flow of oxygen, that vitamin C strengthens the immune orchestra that defends the body each night. But they do not see what the mystics saw, that behind every molecule stands a pattern of intention, and behind every pattern a consciousness that desires harmony. The lemon is not only chemical, it is symbolic. Its color, a hue between gold and white, was once used in alchemical manuscripts to represent the stage of purification, citrinitas, the dawning of the inner sun after the dark night of dissolution. Alchemists saw in the lemon the embodiment of this stage, the transmutation of matter by light. They used its image to remind themselves that the body too could ascend, could refine itself into something luminous. They would say, "He who drinks the sun at night becomes as light when morning comes." There was once a monastery on the cliffs of Amalfi, where monks tended lemon groves older than the stones beneath their feet. They believed each tree was a living gospel, each fruit a sermon of light. They harvested only at twilight, when the world was between breaths, and they drank the first press of juice mixed with spring water before their evening prayers. One chronicler wrote that these monks lived long lives free of sickness, their eyes clear, their minds serene. To them, lemon was not cure, but covenant, a daily renewal of the pact between man and the divine rhythm of nature. The science we know now gives new language to their devotion. We call it circadian biology. We speak of melatonin and cortisol, of the body's internal clock resetting each night. But in the quiet act of drinking lemon water before rest, the ancients found what we now measure, a recalibration. Lemon's essence supports the liver, yes, but also signals to the nervous system that the day's heaviness may end. It instructs the cells to release stress molecules, to let light molecules, biophotons, flow freely once more. In laboratory studies, these biophotons emit faint glows that pulse with the rhythm of the heart. Light within the body, flickering like distant stars, responding to something invisible yet precise. When the lemon enters, the pulse strengthens. Think of this. Every lemon tree is born from sunlight condensed into sugar, transformed by rain into acid, shaped by gravity and wind. Its fruit carries the story of transformation itself. When you drink its essence at night, you are participating in that story. You are not simply consuming nutrients, you are absorbing a language older than words. The body understands it instinctively. It translates sourness into signal, signal into flow, flow into renewal. The alchemy happens quietly while you sleep, as if the universe continues its creation inside you. Even modern medicine admits that the body heals best during sleep, when detox pathways are open. But it has forgotten the role of symbols. The ancients did not separate the physical from the sacred. They knew that intention directed energy, and energy directed matter. To drink lemon water at night without intention is to take only half the medicine. The true remedy is awareness, the sacred pause before the sip, the gratitude that ripples through your being as you remember that life placed everything necessary within reach. There is another secret. Lemon, though acidic by taste, becomes alkaline in the body. This reversal fascinated both healers and mystics. They called it the teaching of inversion, the paradox through which transformation occurs. That which seems harsh becomes gentle. That which burns becomes soothing. The bitterness that contracts the tongue expands the heart. They saw in this process a reflection of spiritual truth, that suffering too, when embraced, becomes wisdom, that the sour moments of life can, through awareness, turn sweet. Thus the nightly ritual was not only physical, it was metaphorical purification. To drink lemon before rest was to declare, "I am ready to transform my bitterness into peace." It was confession without words, repentance without guilt. The body, sensing this, responded accordingly. The parasympathetic system engaged, breathing deepened, the pulse slowed. Healing began not through medicine, but through surrender. Across continents, this wisdom reappeared under different names. In India, yogis drank lemon water before evening meditation, believing it cooled the inner fire and awakened subtle awareness. In Persia, physicians of the Golden Age prescribed it for melancholy, noting that those who drank it by candlelight reported lighter dreams. In Japan, monks of the silent orders used lemon peel to purify the air of their chambers, claiming it carried the spirit of awakening. Everywhere, separated by oceans and centuries, humans found the same truth shimmering within the same fruit. That light can enter even through sourness, that healing is hidden in the humble. If you close your eyes now and imagine the moment, the dim light, the slice of lemon falling into clear water, you may sense it. The merging of elements, the tiny explosion of energy as the juice disperses. That movement, invisible yet real, is a metaphor for what happens within you. Darkness disperses, clarity spreads, energy reawakens. This is the forgotten science of the lemon and the light. It is not New Age, it is eternal age. It is the understanding that every particle of creation carries within it the impulse to return to harmony. The lemon obeys that impulse perfectly. That is why it heals. And perhaps that is why, even after millennia, humanity still reaches for it instinctively, because somewhere within, we know, the same light that ripens the fruit also ripens the soul. When you drink it at night, you remind both of their origin. The lemon, the light, and you, reflections of one golden source seeking to remember itself. There comes a night when the body no longer wishes to fight, when exhaustion is not only of muscle, but of spirit, when the heartbeat sounds like an ancient drum asking softly for renewal, and it is in that tender surrender that transformation begins, not through effort, but through remembrance. The lemon, simple and radiant, becomes the bridge, for transformation does not come from what enters the body, but from what it awakens within. As the lemon's essence enters the bloodstream, a subtle orchestra begins. The acids, the oils, the minerals, each one carries an ancient melody. The cells listen, they respond. The blood brightens, the liver releases, the heart steadies. Yet beneath this physical cleansing, something unseen stirs. The spirit remembers its symmetry. For centuries, mystics have said that every physical process is a reflection of a spiritual one. When the body detoxifies, so too does the soul. When the blood clears, so too does thought. The lemon is not just purifying the body, it is teaching it to sing again. Imagine the first moment the lemon meets the warmth of your body. There is a spark, the meeting of sunlight and blood. This is no metaphor, this is living chemistry transformed into living energy. The nervous system brightens as if tiny suns ignite along its pathways. The vagus nerve, that ancient messenger between brain and heart, hums quietly. The immune system awakens not in alarm, but in peace. There is no fight, only flow. The lemon reminds every system that healing is not resistance, but harmony. The ancients often spoke of this phase as the golden turning. It was the moment when purification became illumination. The bitterness of the lemon, which first startled the senses, now softened into clarity. The body, once dense with fatigue, felt light again. Not metaphorically, but literally. Some claimed their dreams grew vivid, their intuition sharpened, their hearts open. They said the body itself seemed to glow faintly, as if remembering its own radiance. In monasteries, initiates would perform this nightly ritual for 40 days, observing the changes with reverence. The first week brought release, sweat, restlessness, tears. The second week brought calm. By the third, clarity of thought, and by the fourth, a quiet joy. They called this joy the return of the sun within. It was a state in which they said even the smallest acts felt sacred, even the simplest water carried grace. Science, though it has changed its language, observes the same. It notes that lemon's compounds support liver detoxification, that vitamin C renews collagen, that citric acid regulates cellular respiration. But what is respiration truly, if not the rhythm of life, the in and out of divine exchange? Each breath you take after this ritual feels different because it is different. The lemon, the water, the intention, together they teach your body to breathe with the universe again. And here, transformation deepens. The heart, which once beat under the weight of anxiety, now beats in coherence. The brain waves slow into patterns of peace. The gut, that silent second brain, relaxes, its tension melting into release. What begins as chemistry becomes prayer. You are not merely digesting, you are aligning. There is an ancient Persian text that speaks of the elixir of light. It describes a liquid that enters the body and removes heaviness from the soul. Scholars debated its meaning for centuries. Some said it referred to mercury, others to alchemical gold. But those who understood the hidden language of the mystics knew otherwise. The elixir was the essence of citrus, the fruit that captured sunlight and carried it into the body. The text warned, it must be taken in silence, for noise disperses its light. That is why the ritual of lemon at night is sacred. Silence allows the transformation to reach the soul. Transformation always carries a paradox. It feels both physical and otherworldly. You may notice your breath deepen, your sleep soften, your dreams shift. The body, freed of toxins, becomes a more transparent vessel for consciousness. The cells, no longer drowning in acidity, vibrate at higher frequency. The body becomes less of a barrier and more of a bridge. In this clarity, intuition blooms. You begin to sense when to rest, when to act, when to speak, when to be still. The wisdom once buried beneath fatigue and fear begins to rise, quietly, unmistakably. Every transformation, however, demands surrender. The lemon teaches this through its taste. You cannot resist its sourness. You must meet it fully, let it pass through, and only then comes the refreshment. Life itself mirrors this process. Healing begins when you stop resisting the bitterness and allow it to teach you. Every sour moment, every painful memory, every regret. These are the lemons life squeezes into your water. Drink them consciously and they purify. Resist them and they burn. The body knows this. The spirit remembers. In the golden temples of Egypt, priests would give initiates a cup of lemon water before entering the chambers of silence. They called it the first purification. Only after drinking could they meditate, for only then were they considered ready to hear truth. They believed that the lemon cleared not only the physical senses, but the subtle ones, the eyes of intuition, the ears of the heart. After drinking, many claimed they could feel the heartbeat of the earth itself. Perhaps you felt something similar, that quiet pulse under the stillness of night, that sense that you are part of something vast and kind. That is transformation. Not a miracle descending from outside, but remembrance rising from within. The lemon does not impose healing. It invites it. It whispers to every cell, remember what you were made for, light, rhythm, harmony. And when the body obeys, the spirit rejoices. People often describe feeling lighter after this ritual, but it is not only physical weight that disappears. Emotional density dissolves. Old grief, trapped in the muscles, begins to loosen. Memories once filled with pain soften at the edges. You start to forgive yourself, others, life itself. Forgiveness, too, is detoxification of the soul. Some say that during deep transformation, the body becomes an instrument of light, that its fluids, blood, lymph, saliva, begin to carry more biophotons, measurable emissions of light from living tissue. Experiments confirm that healthy cells emit coherent light, while diseased ones emit chaotic flickers. The ancients knew this without instruments. They said, "He who lives in harmony shines through his skin." The lemon's essence, being of the sun, restores this coherence. It reteaches the body how to shine. Transformation, then, is not addition but subtraction. It is not about adding more pills, more complexity, but about removing what no longer belongs. The lemon's role is to simplify, to clear the noise so the signal can sing again. That is why after some nights you may find yourself drawn to silence, to simplicity, to gratitude. You will eat less but feel nourished, speak less but feel understood, seek less but feel fulfilled. The outer world begins to mirror the inner purification. In ancient Japan, samurai monks practiced a ritual they called Yoru no Hikari, the light of the night. They would mix lemon with warm water and a drop of honey before meditation. They said it balanced the warrior and the sage within. The sour awakened courage, the sweet softened pride. To them, transformation was not abandoning strength but refining it. They believed that the true warrior was one who had conquered his inner toxins first: anger, resentment, greed. Lemon, they said, was their invisible sword. So too must modern man learn this balance. The lemon is the humble teacher of opposites, bitter yet healing, acidic yet alkalizing, simple yet divine. In its paradox, it mirrors the truth of human life, that light and darkness coexist, that pain and peace are partners, that the same force that burns can illuminate. When you drink it at night, you are not fighting disease. You are befriending yourself. There is beauty in this ritual's simplicity. No medicine, no ceremony, no grand temple, just you, a lemon and a glass of water. Yet in that simplicity lies everything. You become the temple. The water becomes the sacred pool. The lemon becomes the offering. The moment you lift the glass, you participate in an unbroken lineage of healing, the same act performed by monks, priests, yogis, mothers, healers through the ages. And each time you repeat it, the transformation deepens. You begin to notice subtler shifts, the way your thoughts feel lighter in the morning, the way your breath feels deeper, the way your heart feels calmer. You start to see that the lemon's greatest power is not in its juice, but in the ritual itself. For ritual, done with awareness, heals the modern wound, disconnection. It re-establishes relationship with time, with the body, with the sacred. It reminds you that every night can be a small resurrection. Transformation does not announce itself with thunder. It arrives quietly, like dawn through a half-open window. One night you drink the lemon water as usual, and suddenly you notice the silence feels richer. The air feels softer. Your body, once heavy, feels transparent. The same glass of water that once seemed trivial now feels alive. That is when you know the alchemy is complete, when the ordinary becomes sacred. Because the truth is this: healing has never been about fixing. It has always been about remembering. The lemon is not the source, it is the reminder. It helps the body remember light, helps the heart remember gratitude, helps the spirit remember home. And when all three remember together, the human being is restored to its original design, radiant, peaceful, whole. Tonight, as you hold the glass, remember that transformation is not a future event. It is happening now, with every breath, with every heartbeat, with every drop of sunlight entering your veins through that simple fruit. The human temple rebuilds itself, not in years, but in moments of awareness like this. The lemon is doing more than any medicine, not because it cures, but because it reconnects. It returns you to the divine architecture that has always been within. And as the night deepens and the body surrenders once again to sleep, something magnificent unfolds in silence. The lemon's light travels through the blood, through the mind, through the dream. It speaks in the language of energy, not words. And in that language it says the same truth the ancients once whispered in stone temples and desert winds. You are light remembering itself. Somewhere between the last breath of night and the first sigh of dawn, a quiet revelation takes form. The body, still half asleep, hums with unseen activity. The mind floats between worlds, one foot in the physical, the other in the unseen. It is here in this space between dreaming and waking that the ancient promise unfolds. The lemon has done its silent work through the night, not merely cleansing but preparing. What begins as purification and transformation blossoms now into awakening. The ancients said that every ritual, no matter how small, was a mirror of the cosmos. That to drink water consciously was to echo the rhythm of creation itself, the dance of elements, the harmony of opposites. Lemon at night is no different. It is a small act that speaks to a vast intelligence. In its simplicity lies a profound truth, that matter and spirit are never separate. The water, the fruit, the body, all are manifestations of the same luminous field, woven by unseen laws. As the first light of morning touches the world, your blood already carries that memory. Within every cell, photons, particles of light, move in gentle synchrony. They communicate faster than any nerve, transmitting information through resonance. Science calls it biophoton communication. The mystics called it divine dialogue. It is how the body prays. Every organ, every system, every molecule sings in its own tone, and the lemon, the sun's ambassador, has tuned the instrument. The sages of the East once spoke of ojas, the subtle essence of vitality, the spiritual nectar that sustains consciousness. They believed certain foods, prepared with intention, could increase this inner light. The lemon was among them, not for its nutrients, but for its purity of vibration. Its sourness woke the soul from inertia. Its brightness cleared the fog of the mind. When taken at night, when the world was quiet, it was said to rebuild the ojas lost through stress, sorrow, and time. In the morning, the awakened body glowed with peace, the spirit steady as a flame protected from wind. But awakening is not just about peace. It is about remembrance, remembering that the physical world is sacred, that the glass in your hand, the water within it, the lemon that flavor it, all are fragments of the same divine geometry. Science describes this as symmetry, resonance, and coherence. Faith calls it creation, order, and grace, but both speak of the same reality, energy seeking alignment. When you drink the lemon water before sleep, you align yourself with that universal current. You enter into communion with what moves stars and hearts alike. The modern world has forgotten this language. It sees lemon as chemical, not as symbol. Yet every ancient culture saw in its shape the circle of life, in its taste the reminder of humility. In Greek temples, priests would anoint the sick with lemon oil, believing it carried the sun's intelligence. In India, yogis placed lemon halves at sacred thresholds to absorb negative energy. In the Middle East, mystics burned dried lemon peels as offerings to call forth light. Each tradition, separate and unique, spoke the same unspoken truth. The lemon is the messenger of illumination. Now, as you awaken, that message ripples through you. You feel it in the breath, smoother, deeper, in the eyes and clearer, softer, in the heart, lighter, stronger. The lemon has bridged the night between body and spirit, restoring the connection that the noise of life had loosened. And in this clarity, something profound becomes visible. You begin to see that the body itself is not a cage, but a cathedral. Every cell is a stained glass window, every heartbeat an echo of the divine pulse. The lemon's task was never to heal the temple's walls, it was to open its windows to the sun. Modern science, in its quiet humility, is beginning to rediscover what faith always knew. Researchers now speak of structured water, water that organizes itself into crystalline patterns when exposed to intention, sound, or light. They find that such water stores information and carries it throughout the body. When lemon meets this living water, it changes its structure, its vibration. It becomes coherent, luminous. The ancients would have smiled. They knew this. That's why they spoke prayers over the cup, not as superstition, but as science unspoken. Faith gives the ritual purpose. Science gives it form. The two are no longer enemies, but reflections. The lemon, resting between both worlds, embodies this unity. It is both molecule and miracle, acid and angel, sunlight and substance. Through it, the gap between what we know and what we feel begins to close. You start to sense that knowledge without reverence is empty, and reverence without knowledge is blind. Awakening is when both bow to each other in silence. In this silence, a new awareness arises. You begin to sense the rhythms of the earth moving through you, tides in your blood, moonlight in your breath, sunlight in your nerves. You realize you are not drinking lemon water. You are drinking the memory of creation. The same elements that once burned in stars now flow in your veins. The same intelligence that shaped galaxies now shapes your thoughts. The ritual was never about health alone. It was about awakening to this oneness, the luminous network of being that science calls energy and faith calls spirit. The lemon's glow within you is not metaphorical. Sensitive instruments can detect subtle light emissions from your hands, your forehead, your chest. It is the evidence of coherence, the state of harmony between body and consciousness. In monasteries, they said the awakened man emits a light that has no shadow. Perhaps that is what you are beginning to feel now, the weightless brightness behind your eyes, the quiet expansion in your chest. It is not imagination, it is awakening. Every ancient healer understood this progression. Purification prepares, transformation ignites, awakening completes. They described it as the rising of the inner sun, the moment when spirit takes its rightful seat within matter. After the lemon's work through the night, your energy body, that unseen lattice of currents and fields, hums with symmetry again. The chakras, meridians, or energy centers, whatever name one gives them, begin to spin in resonance. The fog that once dulled your perception lifts. You begin to notice patterns everywhere, in light, in sound, in thought. The world, once fragmented, now speaks in harmony. Some traditions warned that this stage could bring tears, not of sorrow but of recognition. As the body reawakens, old numbness fades. You may suddenly feel alive in ways long forgotten. The taste of food deepens, the sound of rain moves you, a stranger's kindness touches you. This sensitivity is not weakness, it is return. It is proof that the boundaries between the physical and the spiritual are dissolving, that your senses, once dulled by noise, are now instruments of divine perception. Awakening is not about ascending away from the world. It is about descending fully into it, with awareness. It is to see the sacred in the mundane, to touch the divine in a drop of lemon, to realize that medicine and miracle are one when the heart is open. You begin to move differently, speak differently, choose differently, not by discipline, but by resonance. You feel drawn toward light, balance, truth. Toxic foods repel you. Empty conversations lose their taste. The body, now remembering its light, seeks only what sustains it. This is where faith enters in its purest form. Faith, not as belief, but as trust in harmony. The trust that the same intelligence that turns night into morning can turn pain into peace, that the same force that ripens the lemon can ripen your soul. In this awareness, fear dissolves. You no longer cling to control, you allow the rhythm of life to move through you. The lemon ritual becomes a nightly bow to that rhythm, a small act of surrender that reshapes your destiny. Perhaps this is why, across centuries, people who practiced such simple rituals often lived longer, happier lives. Not because the lemon itself was magic, but because they remembered they were part of something vast and benevolent. Each sip reaffirmed their place in the tapestry of existence. They were not isolated beings trying to survive. They were luminous threads in the fabric of creation. When faith and science meet within you, they cease to contradict, they complement. The heart speaks in devotion, the mind confirms in wonder. And in that union, you awaken to a truth as bright as the morning sun rising over the horizon. The universe is alive within you. Every beat of your heart echoes its pulse. Every drop of water mirrors its oceans. Every lemon on every tree is a reminder that the divine does not hide in temples or formulas, it lives in simplicity. This is awakening, not escape, but embodiment, to be fully human, fully divine, fully aware, to walk through life as light made flesh, knowing that even the smallest act, like drinking a glass of lemon water at night, can bridge worlds. And when you rise tomorrow, when sunlight touches your face, remember, you are the continuation of that light. The same force that burned in the heart of the lemon now burns in you. You have not just healed. You have remembered what healing truly means. The awakening is not complete yet. One final stage remains, reflection, the sacred silence after revelation, when understanding becomes gratitude, when the ritual becomes not something you do, but something you are. There is a moment after awakening when words no longer matter, when the body, the mind, and the soul enter into quiet understanding. It is not thought, it is knowing. The lemon's light has done its work, not by adding something foreign, but by clearing what was never yours to carry. What remains now is silence, the kind of silence that is not empty but full of gratitude, of life, of presence. This is the final phase, the reflection, the return home. The world outside begins to stir, but within you there is stillness. It feels as though time has slowed, as though even the breath has become sacred. You notice details you once ignored, the weight of the glass in your hand, the scent of morning air, the sound of your own heartbeat. These are not trivial things anymore. They are proof that life is happening through you, not to you. The lemon has reminded you of that. Healing was never about the fruit alone. It was about bringing you back to this, the awareness of being alive. In this awareness, gratitude blossoms naturally. It does not come from discipline or obligation, but from awe. Gratitude for the simplicity of water, for the patience of sunlight that ripened the lemon, for the unseen intelligence that turns sourness into sweetness within your body, for the divine orchestration that keeps your heart beating while you sleep. Gratitude in this form is not thought, it is vibration. It hums quietly in every cell, turning the body into a living prayer. The ancients taught that reflection was the highest form of healing because it transforms experience into wisdom. To drink lemon at night and awaken lighter in the morning is an act of healing. But to understand why, to feel the sacredness behind it, that is transcendence. The monks who practiced the ritual called this moment the still sun. It was the stage when the outer ritual ended, but the inner light continued to burn. They would sit in silence, eyes closed, palms open, breathing gratitude into every corner of their being. They believed that this final act anchored the transformation permanently within the soul. In reflection, you begin to sense how everything connects. The lemon on the tree, nourished by sunlight, the clouds that carried the rain that fed the roots, the earth that held the seed, the hands that picked it, the water that received it, the body that drank it, the soul that awakened through it, all parts of one vast continuum. There is no separation. The healer and the healed are the same. The medicine and the body are the same. The act and the awareness are the same. This realization is not intellectual. It is felt in the marrow, in the pulse, in the silence between breaths. The lemon's work now transcends the body. Its essence becomes memory, not a memory of mind, but of spirit. A memory that says, you are light and you have always been. You may have forgotten, but the body never did. That is why it responds so quickly to truth. That is why healing feels like remembering. Every cell, every organ, every heartbeat carries this memory forward, whispering it to you through sensations of peace, clarity, and joy. Reflection reveals that the lemon was never the source of power. You were. The fruit was merely the mirror. The healing, the clarity, the peace, they all came from within. The lemon simply helped you remember how to listen. It reminded you that the universe does not heal you from the outside. It aligns with your willingness to return to balance. And when you did, the body followed effortlessly. Now as you stand before a new day, something subtle has changed. The world looks the same, yet it feels different. Colors seem softer, air lighter, sounds clearer. That's because perception itself has been purified. The eyes no longer seek beauty, they see it everywhere. The heart no longer searches for peace, it beats within it. You have become what you sought. This is the sacred memory of light, the final gift of the lemon. The memory that nothing is separate, nothing is ordinary. The same light that lives in the fruit lives in the stars, in the rivers, in your own reflection. It was never lost, only hidden beneath the noise of forgetting. The lemon, with its humble sourness, has become the sweetest reminder of all. The mystics used to say that the most profound rituals end in silence, not in proclamation, not in teaching, but in presence. For truth cannot be taught, it can only be remembered. The silence you feel now is not absence, it is fullness. It is the sound of harmony restored. The body no longer asks, the mind no longer demands, the soul no longer wanders. All three rest in the same rhythm, the rhythm of gratitude. You may find in the days to come that you continue the ritual not out of habit, but out of reverence. It becomes a sacred pause between the day's noise and the night's rest. Each evening, when you cut the lemon and hear the faint hiss of its juice meeting water, you will remember. You will remember that healing is not an event but a relationship between you and the life that animates all things. And perhaps one night, as you stand under the moon holding your glass of lemon water, you will feel something stir, a deep peace rising from within, as though the earth itself were breathing with you. You will understand that every ritual, every act of care, every moment of awareness is the universe remembering itself through you. Then you will no longer ask if the lemon truly heals. You will know. You will know that it heals not because it changes the body, but because it changes the way you see the body, not as flesh but as light, not as a vessel of survival but as an instrument of harmony. The final truth is simple, as all sacred truths are. The lemon was the teacher, the water was the path. The night was the silence in which the lesson was heard. And you were the student and the miracle all along. So as the last drop passes your lips, pause. Feel the weight of the moment. Breathe slowly. The ritual is complete, yet eternal. It does not end with the glass. It continues in every mindful breath, every act of care, every choice made in awareness. This is what the ancients meant by immortality, not the endless extension of life, but the endless awareness of it. When you close your eyes tonight, let gratitude be your final thought. Whisper a thank you to the lemon, to the water, to the sun that created both, to the life that flows through you, and to the silence that made this remembrance possible. For in that whisper, the entire universe hears its own echo. I am light remembering itself. And that, at last, is healing.